Brandon Johnson hosts a watch party in downtown Chicago with hopes of being the city's 57th mayor. After the recent shooting at Michigan State University, Campus Safety talks about what it takes to stay safe on campus. One of DePaul University Art Museum's current exhibits focuses on an artist movement calling for a stop to U.S. interference in Central America. The artificial intelligence company OpenAI launched ChatGPT in November of last year. DePaul University celebrates Sexual Assault Awareness Month by hosting the Clothesline Project exhibition for survivors and victims of sexual violence. Johnson supporters poured in, watching and cheering the results. The atmosphere in the room was electric as Johnson went toe-to-toe with opponent and former Chicago Public Schools CEO Paul Vallis. The two were locked in a close battle the entire night. A roar went up when the final results were announced. Johnson had been elected the 57th mayor of the city of Chicago with 51% of the vote. And then the party began. The DJ turned the music up and supporters celebrated until the president of the Chicago Teachers Union, Stacey Davis Gates, began Johnson's introduction shortly before 10 p.m.
This movement of community and love and justice is going to transform not just the city of Chicago, but these United States of America.
Johnson, accompanied by his wife and children, took the stage to address an excited crowd.
Yes! Because this campaign has always been about building a better, stronger, safer Chicago for all the people of Chicago. For too many people in the city of Chicago, we recognize value, but for too many of us, we don't believe that we deserve it. That changes under a Johnson administration. Because there's more than enough for everybody in the city of Chicago.
Johnson, who's been serving on the Cook County Board of Commissioners, is a former Chicago Public Schools teacher and an organizer for the CTU, the Chicago Teachers Union. He'll be tasked with negotiating a new contract with the CTU, addressing crime in the city, helping a struggling downtown that's been impacted by the pandemic, and dealing with countless other difficult issues. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Ariana Allen. The Clothesline Project is a way for students to express their feelings about sexual assault by creating art on a t-shirt. The shirts are displayed together while the creators get to remain anonymous.
I think that what is great about this event is that it allows survivors, whether or not they feel the strength within them or, maybe are feeling a little bit lost, it gives them the opportunity to tell their story, which even if it doesn't feel like it, takes an incredible amount of strength to do that.
Themes of resilience, strength, and even notes to past abusers are some of the kinds of messages left on the shirts, with each t-shirt color specifying what type of sexual violence the creator dealt with. Viewers of the finished clothesline can understand how sexual violence comes in many forms. According to the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, 13% of all college students experience rape or sexual assault through physical force, violence, or incapacitation. DePaul hosts the Clothesline Project as a way for students to realize how much of an impact sexual violence may have on members of the university community. For students who may be dealing with any type of sexual trauma on campus, DePaul says the university's Office of Health Promotion and Wellness, the Women's Center, and the Dean of Students' Office are all resources students can have access to when dealing with trauma. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Ariana Allen. OpenAI is not new to the field of artificial intelligence. Since its founding in 2015, it's worked on projects including teaching a robotic arm to complete a Rubik's Cube and using only text to create computer-generated images. Its newest software, ChatGPT, can understand user requests and accurately respond to feedback given by the user. DePaul's Director of Information Services, Bob McCormick, says that artificial intelligence can be used in many ways.
I mean, these tools can create music, they can create art, they can generate computer code, so they can be used to write computer code. They can write essays, as you well know.
If you ask ChatGPT to write you an essay, for example, it will do so immediately with no questions asked. It starts the essay with an introductory paragraph and moves into supporting arguments and a conclusion, all with accurate grammar and punctuation. It's designed to produce human-like product quality, which is making it difficult for some professors.
Very hard to tell the difference between student writing and what ChatGPT is able to generate.
Jennifer Connery is an associate professor of English and the director of the University Honors Program at DePaul.
ChatGPT gives you a product, but if you just go straight to the product, you're not going through the learning process, which is what actually matters for your life after graduation.
There is some novelty to being able to use this new software to generate answers on the spot. But getting an answer without doing any of the work is often a way for students to fall into issues with academic integrity. DePaul currently has not made any new policies regarding ChatGPT, but it does have an academic integrity policy. DePaul's policy says plagiarism is, quote, any use of words, ideas, or other work products attributed to an identifiable source without attributing the work to the source from which it was obtained, in a situation where there is a legitimate expectation of original authorship. Some professors warn that what it gives you might not even be accurate.
I was really surprised that it actually got a lot of my quiz questions wrong, that for whatever reason that it's, ChatGPT can only pull from whatever information is out there. And so it isn't capable of actual critical thinking.
The full impact ChatGPT will have in the classroom is still unknown since it's so new. For now, some professors say it can be appropriately used for certain purposes, as long as it's not used fraudulently.
And what I've done in the introduction to the class, I acknowledged ChatGPT is a thing. I know about it. You might know about it. I think you should try it. Use it for some of our prompts or assignments. See what it gives you. Integrate it into your drafting process. But know that the most important writing you do in this class is writing that is yours, writing that is authentic.
For Good Day DePaul, I'm Ariana Allen. DePaul University allows students to receive a college education while living in the third largest city in the U.S. But some say one thing it doesn't offer is enough diversity. In 2021, DePaul enrolled almost 3,000 freshmen, its largest freshman class in history. 7% were Black and 24% Hispanic. While these minority groups do have representation at the school, some students say DePaul could be doing more to recruit and retain students and faculty of color. DePaul junior Savannah Barker feels that in order to retain more students of color, DePaul needs to provide a safe space for them on campus.
I think one of the things that can draw, at least for me as a Black student, one of the things that draws me to a school or an organization is the space that it holds for Black people and people of color. And I feel like DePaul could maybe invest more time and more money, or just in general more support into really establishing those spaces for Black people on campus.
DePaul freshman Tori Seju Bulgogi also feels there's a lack of diversity on campus.
In classes, which is, I guess, most important since it's a college, I'm usually the only person of color.
Students like these say that finding a strong sense of minority representation on campus is an issue, and they're not alone. Some faculty feel the same way. At DePaul, there are currently 860 full-time faculty members. 64 are Hispanic and 63 are Black. Professor Judith McCrae began teaching at DePaul in 2017 as an adjunct and became the Diversity Fellow in the Center for Communication and Engagement in the fall of 2021. She's been a full-time faculty member in the College of Communication since March of last year. She shared how diversity was not the main reason she was interested in teaching at DePaul, but it became something she noticed as soon as she stepped foot on campus.
I did had like sticker shock when I came to DePaul for my interviews and saw how predominantly white the student body was, and then was stunned when I became an adjunct to realize that there were no African Americans in the journalism department.
Since coming to DePaul, McCrae has helped start a chapter of the National Association for Black Journalists. She also hears from students and other faculty of color about the need for more minority representation at the university and an understanding of the struggles Black students and faculty may face.
I guess my experience speaks more to talking to African American students who are in the College of Communication or journalism majors, of just that sense of isolation and feeling that there's not enough connection amongst the student body, but certainly not enough recognition from faculty and administrators.
With DePaul being in the city, a lot of students commute, which makes it even harder for students of color to create community.
Because I based my decision on like how much diversity was here based upon like, you know, the percentage that they give on like the brochure, which is like that percentage may be true, but I feel like some transparency would be nice in saying like, this is how many people are actually like live on campus, this is how many people stay off campus.
As for the lack of diversity in faculty, McCrae hopes that more applicants of color apply in the future.
Yeah, I don't think, in my experience, I don't think DePaul is outwardly racist or discriminatory. I think it just hasn't reached out enough beyond its comfort zone.
For Good Day DePaul, I'm Ariana Allen. DePaul University celebrated all things time travel as it hosted its 10th annual Pop Culture Conference. The conference is the brainchild of Paul Booth, a professor of media and popular culture at DePaul. The conference covers a different theme surrounding pop culture every year. The Pop Culture Conference began as a meetup for Doctor Who fans and has evolved into an annual celebration with topics that change from year to year.
At first, I wanted to always make it something that was themed around an anniversary. So, for instance, in 2016, it was the 50th anniversary of Star Trek. So we did a Star Trek one. The focus this year is on time travel, both because it's our 10th anniversary. And so it's a nice little way to talk about nostalgia and talk about bringing things back. And also looking forward and looking at what's to come.
During the conference, panelists found creative ways to talk about and explore the idea of time travel. Other panelists at the conference talked about how time travel shows up in different popular TV and movie storylines, and even how the average Disney theme park goer experiences time travel when they step foot in a Disney park. The conference drew a mixed crowd of pop culture and fandom enthusiasts, including one who hasn't missed a single conference since they began.
I started with Doctor Who. I was part of a Doctor Who group, and they were talking about that they were going to have a free conference on Doctor Who, and I loved it. And I was like, ooh, this will be cool. So I went to the first one, and then I came to the second one, and then I've been coming to them ever since.
Throughout the day, different vendors set up, selling items related to the conference's theme, and some items had proceeds go towards Inside Circle, which is an organization that offers resources for formerly incarcerated people. The final keynote speaker of the day was Dr. Ron Mallett, a professor of physics at the University of Connecticut. Mallett talked about how he decided to dedicate his life to time travel when his father passed away from a massive heart attack when he was a child. After his father died, Mallett was determined to figure out the science behind time travel so he could go back and warn his father about his heart condition. Mallett ended the conference with an engaging lecture on the science behind physical time travel and the possibility of actually achieving time travel in this lifetime.
Time travel does have a real scientific basis. And as it is, as I said, we have begun to travel into the future, just baby steps. And eventually we will travel back to the past. The question we'll have to ask ourselves is, when we can go back to the past, we can alter things and have our control of our destiny in a way that we've never had before.
As for next year's topic, Booth didn't want to give away too much, but he did give us a hint.
Most of the time I always say I don't start thinking about next year until this year is over. But I did notice that the date for next year is May the 4th.
If you happen to miss this year's conference but want to know more about it, you can go to popcultureconference.com. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Ariana Allen.